Well, well, I guess the game's over. Halo is fucking dead.
Gaming used to be the domain of the geeks, and it's not really anymore.
So apparently because this woman is working there, it's like it's bad because she has a rainbow flag? Well, that's not really enough. I don't think that's enough data for me to say that Halo's dead. Sorry, guys. I think we're in danger. So we have right here, this is the new creative designer for Halo Studios. He says, honestly, I don't think I could work on a game that glorifies or fantasizes modern guns. The head of Concord, director of marketing and operations, joined Halo Studios.
Of intricate stories that take place across lots of different worlds, have lots of different meaningful characters.
Shit. Well, it's been a rough 10 years for Halo. Maybe the roughest 10 years of any franchise not named Marvel. It all started when Microsoft decided they didn't need Bungie anymore and created 343 Studios under Barney Ross to shepherd the Halo games. Which, I guess we all should have seen the destruction of the Halo games coming, because 343 Guilty Spark killed Johnson.
Have a few more days.
But a premature firing will destroy the Ark.
Deal with it.
Will destroy this installation. Unacceptable! Absolutely unacceptable!
So maybe it was kind of obvious that this was going to happen? But they released one pretty okay Halo game with Halo 4. One steaming pile of dog shit, an offense to Halo fans. Maybe the first major DEI game ever released in Halo 5 Guardians, and basically just Far Cry and Halo Infinite. Infinite had a decent multiplayer, but Microsoft didn't support it. It had cheating problems, it had lag problems, it had server issues, and of course, recently they added in all the fabulous LGBTQ garbage into the game. So before we do that, I want to take a step back. Before we take a step forward into this big pile of shit Microsoft has now thrown Halo into, I wanted to talk for just a minute about my own personal experience with this franchise. If you don't give two flying fucks about it, I'll put a timestamp on the screen. You guys can just jump ahead. Halo, for me, was an intrinsic part of my life growing up. The original game was fantastic. I remember me and my friends were sitting around the table in the lunchroom being just super fucking obsessed over the PlayStation 2. It was going to be the greatest thing ever. And one of my friends had a gaming magazine. Don't remember which one it was, but Halo was on the cover.
When it seems like all is lost. When it feels as if you have no hope. When you are outnumbered, overpowered, and they've got you cornered. That's when you realize your last best hope is you. Halo, Combat Evolved, rated M for mature.
And they had recently announced at E3, I think, that Halo was coming to Xbox. It was no longer a Mac game. It was going to be on Xbox. Now, I didn't have a fucking clue what Xbox was. Who did back then? I didn't even know what Microsoft was. But I was so excited. I got a summer job and saved literally all summer, and then immediately pre-ordered the Xbox that came with Halo from Sam's Club. And no lie, the day the Xbox came was one of the happiest of my entire life. And then I immediately started playing Halo, and it lived up to literally every one of my expectations. But it was more than that. It became an intrinsic part of my life and friendships. We would all lug our big CRT TVs. They were a massive 15 inches.
Right.
To our friends' houses, and we'd pile them up in the living room and play Halo on LAN non-stop.
35, 40 people here, and they're all about Halo. And what it comes down to is getting together with people and being able to yell at them, being able to, talk about, oh, it was so great when you killed me with that rocket. I didn't even know it was coming,
Shushka's aim is horrible.
They keep on bringing in more stuff, and it seems to be expanding.
We set up 10 Xboxes, actually. That meant 10 TVs or screens of some sort.
Hi, I'd like to place a to-go order, please. It's pretty big. I want 12 large pizzas.
There were people willing to spend next month's rent to fly across the country to play in a game at my house.
When Halo 2 came out, it got even more addictive, as I spent almost 2 years of my life playing Halo 2.
I've got the ultimate anti-son-of-a-bitch stick right here. Target for a powerful lunge attack.
Killing spree.
Almost every friend I had come from Halo. It was such an important part of my life for a long time. I didn't think it could get any better. Then Halo 3 came out, and I honestly don't know how to put into words the level of excitement I felt and so many people in the gaming community felt. It was like everything we had been waiting for. This game was so successful, so incredibly successful. Hollywood directors actually listed as the reason movies underperformed the month that it came out. I remember my brother had a night job, and he left early, which I guess was late, but he left early that day so we could be at GameStop at midnight to get copies of Halo 3. Let me make sure you're understanding this. My brother tried to convince his boss that he had to go home early at a day he had showed up at work because he was willing to risk losing his job to go to the midnight launch for Halo 3. And this video is just a little tiny part of how it felt to live through this.
Sum it up for us.
Amazing.
It's exhilarating, man. It's an experience. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. I bought Halo as soon as it came out, man. I was hooked.
Halo tree.
Play the game.
Did you come here just for this event?
Yeah, I came here just for this event.
They don't have this in Chicago?
They do, but it's not this. You come here for the experience. This is like, my father went to Woodstock. This is our Woodstock of a generation.
This is a moment Master Chief is signing off. Yes, agreed. They are on their way in.
I didn't realize until I saw that video how much I miss midnight launch parties. We have definitely lost more than we've gained. That is what that game meant to us. We were all so stoked. Now, eventually, we moved on to play other things. We moved on. I started playing Oblivion. Another one of my friends started playing Oblivion. Some of my friends moved on to GTA 4, and some of them moved on to play Gears of War's multiplayer, and eventually we all grew apart. But one of the big reasons games like Halo or IPs like Marvel or Star Wars means so much to us nerds is because a lot of our relationships and friendships and childhood was centered around these IPs, and especially Halo. So this is why we become so defensive and so angry when these IPs start being threatened. Now, Halo has already gone through a rough 10 years. 343 was terrible at what they did, and a lot of the games are mediocre to bad. So there's probably not the level of outrage over the decision to DEI up Halo that there would have been 10 years ago, but I don't fucking care. DEI is the great destroyer. It destroys everything it touches. The very concept of equity is fucking ridiculous. It guarantees the people working on a project are not the best people for that job. It almost guarantees they've come in with a political motive. Most of the time, actually all of the time, when people are hired for DEI reasons, they never, ever, ever are there to make the best possible game or movie or TV show or whatever they're working on. They're always there to further a political agenda. And even worse, these days they bring in these DEI hires and they're aware of it. They know the score. They're actually in on this bullshit. This isn't an accidental coincidence of hiring incompetent people. These are people who are in on the game, and they want to preach to you. And they want to make sure that everybody thinks and acts exactly how they think is acceptable. But I don't fucking care. I don't care. I'm fucking pissed. Because Halo was barely hanging on, and Microsoft just kicked it off a fucking cliff. Now, there's always going to be people, whenever you make a video like this, who say, oh, you just don't like this person because X, Y, Z. Whatever. Those people are full of shit, and they're completely taken over by the woke mind virus. They really don't matter. I mean, they matter less now than they ever have, but they don't matter. They never mattered. The reality is, name to me one good game that has embraced DEI and wokeism that has actually been good. So, we start unraveling this onion with Melissa Boone as the new chief of staff of Halo. Now, just because she seems to be the quintessential DEI hire doesn't mean she actually is. However, Smash JT...
She is the chief of staff. Rainbows, purple hair, and all. But when you look at what Boone's background is, it becomes pretty hard to understand how any of this even relates to Halo in the first place. This screams DEI hire. She holds a PhD in social psychology, focusing on AIDS and HIV. And however, it's not just Melissa who has an agenda to push, but the executive producer, Casey Wu, and the COO, Elizabeth Van Wyck. They're both activists. Casey Wu, for instance, was on a panel back in 2019 called Open Worlds, Women and Diversity in Gaming. Then we have Elizabeth Van Wyck, the COO, and she shares a similar pattern of activism.
Some of these women, they're so stupid.
Elizabeth has been a Microsoft employee for many years, and she's been involved in various activist circles, including sitting on a panel for AnyKey, a group that prioritizes activism and social justice in gaming.
As you can see, it's not about gaming for these women. They are all activist. They are all feminist. They are all woke. Naturally, there's been quite a few defenders of the No Men Allowed Halo Club. People are accusing us gamers of not giving these women a fair chance because they're women. If this was all men, we'd all be excited. That's the same bullshit they always trot out. Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to own the chuds, you want to stick it to us toxic gamers, well, the way you do that is make a great fucking game. You make a fantastic 10 out of 10 Halo game. Angry Joe gives it a badass seal of approval. And you know what? We'll stop caring about your stupid activism. We'll just continue to think it's fucking stupid and ignore it entirely. But you are incapable of doing that. Giving these women the keys to Halo is like giving a retard who's never driven a car before the keys to your brand new $500 million Lamborghini. You probably want to be sure this isn't going to happen. Hiring people who have no experience to run these massive projects with hundreds of millions of dollars of investment in them is why DEI is dying. Because it's very public facing and it's very obvious when these projects go down in flames. And I guarantee you can come back and watch this video when it comes out if you think I'm crazy. I guarantee you Halo, whatever they call it, Halo 6 or 7, is going down in flames. It has zero chance of being successful. Let me ask you something. You see this clip again.
Elizabeth has been a Microsoft employee for many years, and she's been involved in various activist circles.
That is one dumb woman. Sorry. The only one that agrees with that more than me are the women.
Do you really think under this person's leadership that they will ever be able to achieve the heights of Bungie? I'm going to show you this brief clip here of one of the Halo 3 marketing videos, because sometimes you forget what you've lost. this tone, this atmosphere that Bungie always brought to the Halo games, 343 was never able to recapture it, and I doubt Halo DEI Studio will ever be able to recapture it. Now, you might just say, well, you're still kind of overreacting, damn nerd. Calm down for 2 minutes and actually give it a second. Well,
goes by the PJ Skittles on Twitter. He stated that he didn't want to make the modern guns because he struggled with Halo, specifically stating, I honestly don't think I could work on a game that glorifies or fantasizes modern guns like Call of Duty, Battlefield, RB6. I've had moments I've struggled with Halo, but the weapons and world is pretty sci-fi, which creates a large enough separation from reality. This is a developer working on guns on a game that doesn't like making guns.
What do? I make guns. There's the battle rifle, right? If you're like me, it'll be the weapon that you fall back on throughout the entire game. It'll hopefully actually behave more like a rifle than the assault rifle did from Halo, which was more of a submachine gun. It suffered from the same things that all video game weapons suffer from, and that is they do not behave like their real world counterparts.
so now we got a guy who thinks modern guns do not belong in Halo. Halo without guns. What am I, gonna throw Care Bears at motherfuckers? I'm gonna get a squirt gun and start shooting the Covenant with it? Maybe you'll just ask the Covenant politely to get the fuck off your lawn. You're gonna hire some retard who doesn't think you should have modern guns in video games to work on Halo, a first-person shooter with military weapons, military tactics. The freaking Scorpion tank is just an Abrams tank. I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
South Carolina, it was a trip for reference to see basically how Marines moved, how they reacted in combat situations, formations. We show up on a farm and we're kind of like, how serious could these guys actually be? And then we turn the corner and see a table full of guns. Not only one table, but 2 picnic tables full of guns. And these guys were pretty serious. It was kind of intimidating.
Gun comes up, gun
Bang,
doesn't
bang.
work. And now I'm gonna take up a good shooting position and I'm gonna follow him all the way into the ground.
We did a lot of research, but there's only so much that books can teach you. You've got to get a lot of research hands-on.
It isn't very often where you get to see guys who really know what they're doing.
And at full extension, now you're holding by itself.
Being able to stand back and observe brass ejecting from the weapon.
I mean, we've already criticized the art direction under 343 for looking too much like a child cartoon. You think this retard is going to fix it? No, they're going to push much further into the cartoon bullshit. Do you think this retard could ever make something as good as this trailer?
Maybe someone up there was wondering what it's like here. I guess. Do you think we'll ever meet them? I hope so. Don't you? Do you think we'll ever meet them?
I think we lost him.
Not yet.
No, he wouldn't even try. This trailer represents everything this guy hates. You have strong male characters, a military background, modern firearms, tanks, military tactics, military strategies. He would never even try to recreate something like this trailer in a Halo game, which is why he should never have been hired to work on any Halo game. And if that wasn't bad enough, here's your final example of why there's no chance for Halo in the future.
Concord has shut down, and this is a victory for all gamers, or at least the ones that actually care about the direction of the game industry. Concord costing upwards of $400 million for Sony, Firewalk Studios, is officially shut down. Sony just sent out a press release letting everyone know that the studio and the game is no longer.
The head of Concord, director of marketing and operations, joined Halo Studios.
Concord is the largest flop in video game history. So you're hiring a person to come into a studio to work on Halo that made a game that's such a big flop, it forced Sony to change the way they do business. And this is the problem. This is the real problem with the woke mind virus / DEI. This happens because
Elizabeth Van Wyck, the COO,
is in charge. These people all have gay and trans flags in their bio. They're all activists. They're all woke. They're all part of the same activist group. These people weren't hired because they have great skills to make great games. They were hired to provide more same think in the studio.
He's out of line, but he's right.
In the studio. This is 1984 played out in reality because anyone with wrong think will be pushed out of the studio. The whole leadership of this studio now are nothing but activists that will push anyone out who does not immediately agree with them. And it doesn't matter what your political viewpoints are. If you do not allow an environment where creative freedom can be expressed, you will not end up with a good product. There is no way the next Halo game is going to be good. You know, a few warning signs. It's okay to kind of ignore a few warning signs. But this, motherfuckers, this is like your house is already burned down. And there's going to be people in the comments arguing that Halo 6 or 7 is going to be fantastic. And you just don't like it because of the glorious representation, how it includes everybody.
Right.
By excluding everybody. Because, make no mistake, my friends, if you do not agree with the ideology behind the woke mind virus, to quote Bill Maher, then you are to be excommunicated, attacked, and removed.
We have found the witch, may we burn her? Who do you know she is a witch? She looks like one. Bring her forward.
I'm not a witch, I'm not a witch.
But you are dressed as one.
They dressed me up like this.
What makes you think she's a witch? Oh, she turned me into a newt. A newt? Got better.
Gentlemen, us gamers, the Halo fans, the people like me who have over 300 hours on the Master Chief Collection just on Steam, we are not welcomed anymore.
This is the Gamerhood, and you are not welcome.
Right.
Don't worry, Halo the Veilguard will be out soon, and they're going to make sure to own the chuds. Thanks guys for watching this long. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the subscribe button. If you didn't, leave a comment telling me how much of a fucking retard I am. And for everybody, I'll see you guys on the next one. And as always, this is a damn nerd signing out.